Coming up on this episode of the Battlescale Collectica Show, we travel to the 34th Annual Wonderfest Convention in Louisville, Kentucky, featuring special guests Industrial Light and Magic modeler Fawn Davis, Space 1999 actor Nick Tate, Round 2 Head of Product Development Jamie Hood, Grex Airbrush, and much more. And you won't want to miss an extended look at all fan-created models on display during the convention. Stay tuned.
All right, we're here at Wonderfest 2024, and I am with Mr. Nick Tate, actor, producer, director, very well known for the fans of Space 1999. Mr. Tate, thank you for taking a couple minutes to talk with us.
Call me Nick.
All right, Nick, you call me Jack.
Jack.
All right, Nick. Well, listen, when you reminisce on 1999, Space 1999, what comes to your mind? What memories do you have of that production? It was an interesting production. It was a British Italian.
Yeah, and the Italian people put money into the show. If they had any influence on the show, I don't know, because we never saw them, apart from a couple of very fine Italian actors that came and worked on the show. As you may or may not know, there was an Italian actor that was going to play the Chief Eagle pilot, and he didn't show up on the day we started shooting. Producers went into a bit of a panic, and they started to recast straight away from the people they knew, and somehow or other I got the role. But my Italian accent was not that great, so Lee Casson, the director, said, well, why doesn't he do it Australian? And they went, no, there's no Australians on the moon. And I said to Sylvia, there's no English on the moon either, Sylvia. And he went, see, this guy's got the humor. I want him. And I got the role.
Well, that's great. Now, obviously, we all know you from Space 1999, but you've done a lot of other television film work, but you've actually been on a couple episodes, different episodes of different Star Trek series as well.
Yes, I have. But if you could remember that Star Trek finished back in the late 60s. Space 1999 started filming in 1973. Which was 7 years after the last episode of Star Trek. And it didn't go to air till 1975. And then the Star Trek films and television series started a lot later. And
you appeared in...
I was in two of those.
Yeah, you appeared in The Next Generation.
I did.
First.
So I don't know, was that like nearly 20 years later? I'm not sure.
That was, if I believe it was around 1990, I think, when you made that first appearance in Star Trek, I believe.
Years later?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure of the timing either. I think it was closer to 92.
Okay.
Because I was in Australia for a while, and I came back here in 89 to do a series on Fox called Open House. And not long, maybe a couple of years after that, I did my first Star Trek. And then 2 years after that, that was Next Generation. Then I did
Deep Space Nine, I think.
Deep Space Nine with Cole Meany, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was great. It was a real thrill, and a lot of my Space 1999 fans were also Star Trek fans. So it killed two birds or made three birds.
With one phaser.
I know. You're very funny, too.
I am funny. At least
it's a comedy show.
It's neither. But also, too, obviously, you've been to Wonderfest before, if I'm not mistaken. Do you remember how many times have you been?
No. Yeah, once. It was last year.
Last year, okay.
That was the first time I've ever been here. I haven't really been to many space conventions because, strangely enough, even after I was the first person to ever be invited to a Star Trek convention outside of all the Star Trek actors, that happened to me back in 1976. I was asked to do my first Star Trek convention because a lot of the Star Trekkies were starting to think, hey, we like Space 1999.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That started a bit of an internal battle amongst Star Trek aficionados. Some loved Space 1999. Others was, okay, it's not Star Trek. No, it's not Star Trek. It is what it is.
Right, and also too, what was it like working with the Andersons? Because that was an interesting dynamic, that team.
Yeah, well, Sylvia, of course, was the one with the heart, the one who loved the actors. Sylvia really was the person that eventually decided to cast me in the show. Jerry said, I don't care. He said, I don't like actors. And Sylvia said, oh, don't listen to him. He does like actors. He said, no, I don't. I don't like actors. I like puppets.
Right, I was just going to say he likes puppets because they did Thunderbird. And one last question for you. Obviously, the sci-fi folks, the Trekkies, the fans of the show know you very well, but you've had a long career in voiceover, in animation, in games. You've produced. You've really done, you're more than just an actor who was on a sci-fi show.
Yeah, well, I think most actors have got several hats. You have to, because you wouldn't survive if you didn't, and not unless you become a giant star and get a television series that pays mega bucks. And whilst most people out there think all actors earn great fortunes, we don't. If I was to do, for example, a guest shot in a show, I might make $6,000 or $8,000, and I might get six, if I'm lucky, of those a year. 6 sixes are 36,000. You're not going to live on $36,000
Right,
your life.
right.
Kids, 4 children, and so on. So the acting profession is very tough for most people. I have been lucky. I've diversified. I do lots of things, and it's the only way to go.
Right.
And that's how we survive.
Well, I can tell you just from being here at Wonderfest and seeing all the people coming to talk to you, to shake your hand, have pictures taken, the fans really do love you, and I really do appreciate you taking a few minutes of your time to talk with us and be on the show.
Oh, my pleasure, Jack. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Talk about model master, Mr. Fawn Davis. Fawn, thank you for giving us a few minutes to talk.
Sure.
Now, those of you who aren't familiar with Mr. Davis here, this is a man who worked at ILM and worked on Star Wars miniatures. Can you talk about just a little bit of what you've done and what you're doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, I was at Industrial Light and Magic. I got to work with all the guys that we ride on their coattails, basically. It's like they did the original trilogy, and then we got there and we did the Star Wars special editions and the prequels, and then I continue to do work with Fonco Studios for Lucasfilm on shows like The Mandalorian to this day. So a lot of that kind of stuff.
And you also do some teaching with Stan.
At Stan Winston School.
Yeah, Stan Winston School, so that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Real overview, what are you teaching, or what are you focusing on there?
Oh, well, actually, your timing on this question is incredible because this year in 2024, we're releasing a new course where I focus on technology-driven fabrication.
3D printing.
Yeah, 3D printing, laser cutting, vinyl cutting, CNC machining, and all of that kind of fabrication. And I do have a class also on vacuum forming and building a sci-fi helmet with vacuum former. And we do an animatronic octopus in the newest lesson that's attacking a HO scale container ship.
Wow.
So it's exciting. You'll see a lot more of that in the coming weeks, for sure.
Now, I've got two really important questions. The first one is, when you see out there, this show is for modelers and people in figures, when you see the amount of time and energy and love model makers are putting into kits based on things you've actually designed and worked on, how does that make you feel as a modeler?
It's funny because I was just visiting one of the model rooms yesterday and I spotted the Phoenix rocket. I didn't get to do a lot of things on Star Trek, and I did a little bit on the miniature for that movie, First Contact. And that's the first thing I spotted when I came in the room, because I was like, oh, I remember this. Yeah, it's really fun. I think I connect more than I think about what we did on the movies. I connect with the idea of making these things and what that feels like as a model maker, because before I was a professional model maker, that's absolutely my childhood. Building the garage kits, building all the model kits, and, racing home from school so I could work on something, So I know how rewarding that is. And to this day, even though we do the professional model making on movies and all of these things, as a hobby, I have my own little shop at home and I do builds at home.
Well, you're a model maker.
I am. It's in my blood.
It's just
sure.
and also I love you talked about new technologies, 3D printing, resin printing. It is just for me personally on what I'm working on. I'm building a 50-inch Galactica
Oh wow, nice.
that to make
Which version?
It's the original,
OG? All right,
OG.
good.
Yeah, scratch building the hangar bays and all that. And there are people that I've known that have built studio scale.
Yeah.
But you're talking thousands of hours and
Yes.
thousands of dollars. Can you talk about how 3D printing has just revolutionized what you do as a professional?
Yeah.
And then just the industry as a whole.
Yeah, I think, well, for me, model making has, in my adult years, become, with the internet and just things like Wonderfest and things like these communities have been building around these hobbies. It used to be a very isolated hobby. You just worked on your little models at home. You'd occasionally go to shows and pick up kits and meet people. But now I feel like there's an interconnected cult community around miniatures and creating miniatures. And the 3D printing, the way that ties into it is really interesting because it means people are sharing computer files with each other. And it's made the goals that you can set for yourself as a model maker a lot higher than I think you would set if you were just working on your own and if you didn't have 3D printing as an option. So I think it's exciting because it really just broadens the capabilities of everybody and it makes it faster to get that. So like professionally, we want fast. So we're going to go a lot faster with the technology than we would without, higher quality, but as a hobbyist, it also opens so many doors,
Right. And can you talk about, when you're working on a team, when you were at ILM or whether you're working on The Mandalorian right now, you're not just in a corner working on a model. It's a collaboration. Anything in filmmaking is a collaborative effort.
Yeah. It's very, very rare in professional model making to have an opportunity to build a model by yourself. It's usually a pretty significant team of people, and you do a little piece of it. Even the parts we do in movies, I always feel like a little bit of an imposter when I do this stuff because there's thousands of people that work on a motion picture, and I did this tiny piece of a tiny piece of the movie. And then I become known for that. Not saying that it's not a contribution, but it's no bigger a contribution than everyone else who worked on the movie. So it's humbling to actually work on these projects.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, listen, I really appreciate your time. It was a pleasure meeting you in person. And,
thank you.
I'm glad you've been enjoying Wonderfest. The amount of talent that's on display here is just off the charts.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
All right.
I had a lot of fun walking around, seeing all the incredibly detailed miniatures. Yeah.
All right. Well, when you're done, you travel safe back to LA.
All right.
And hopefully we'll have you on the show again.
Okay, I'd love that.
We'll be right back from Wonderfest 24 with Round 2, Grex Airbrush, and a showcase featuring the fan-created models here on display. Battlescale Collectica does not believe in paid subscriptions or hide any content behind paywalls. We are a viewer-supported webcast. Please support the show by following our channel and sharing each episode on your social media. If you would like to financially support the show's production, please consider sending a donation over PayPal. You may use our email, battlescalecollectica@proton.me.
So I'm here with Jamie Hood with Round 2. Hi, Jamie. How you doing?
Good to be here.
Jamie, what do you do with Round 2?
I'm the head of product development and brands. So I'm recently was promoted. I used to be just the sci-fi model guy, and now I'm the guy that supervises our entire creative output. Every product that goes out the door, I have eyes on it.
Great. And I love the fact that you came from the sci-fi, because I am a sci-fi nut, if you probably couldn't tell.
Yeah, I am too.
Okay.
That's what I've loved since I was a kid.
Okay, great. So you're a sponsor of Wonderfest. Is that right?
Yeah, we sponsored a make and take this year. So kids would come in on Saturday, have the opportunity to build a model kit for free to get their first experience building models.
Oh, great. Now, one thing I like about Round 2 is you guys are a U.S.-based company. There's not many model makers left, really, that are U.S.-based.
Yeah. We're probably the biggest in the country at this point. Revell, I'm not sure how we would compare to them, but they're probably the next biggest.
Can we talk about some of your lines? I know, you've got like the Round 2, but you also do die-cast, cars. Can you kind of give us just a 10,000-foot overview of Round 2?
Sure thing. So Round 2, yeah, we're here, concentrating on sci-fi models, but that really is a thin slice of the business we do. So we do a full line of model kits, mostly in the automotive space, so 24th, 25th scale cars. Outside of modeling, we do 1/18th and 1/64 scale die-cast cars under the Auto World and Johnny Lightning brands. And we have a line of slot cars under the Auto World brands. So there's actually a couple other areas we're getting into as well. We have a farm toy company out of Arkansas that we run, and we're looking for other areas to get into as well.
Now, I am a huge fan of the refit enterprise, the 350th scale. I'm really in the beginning stages to get ready to build it.
Okay.
But you guys have released some other really cool Star Trek models. Can you kind of give us a quick overview of what you've just released in the last 6 months?
Last 6 months, nothing real new or groundbreaking, mostly reissues. Right now, we're getting ready to release a Strange New Worlds Enterprise. That'll be coming probably in fall of this year, and then the USS Cerritos from Lower Decks towards the end of the year.
That's cool that you're branching out into some of the TV stuff.
Yeah.
Now, what about the Kronos One? Talk about the Kronos One. How involved were you on that project?
Most of our sci-fi new kits that have been developed under the Round 2 brand, I've had most of the control over developing. But it's a group effort. I have excellent consultants like Charles Adams, who drew the CAD work for the model. Other consultants helping me think through how modelers will be thinking about how they assemble it to make sure that, when we introduce a light kit or something like that, that everything's thought through, that we can document the best way to build it for the modeler, so it's a great experience for them.
No, I really love with the Kronos One that you guys did have the light kit. I thought that was great that you actually are releasing something tailor-made for this model.
Yeah.
Because, a scale that big, you got to light it.
Right. Some of these Star Trek kit or ships, like the Cerritos, for instance, I hadn't originally thought about doing a light kit specifically for that. But now that I'm thinking about it, the fact that the nacelles light up on all 4 sides of the nacelle, I don't think the ship will look right almost if you don't light it. So
Right.
We're also going to be trying to develop more lighting options for kits that don't necessarily have a dedicated light kit to it, that we'll be able to supply either 1 set or 2 sets that you can use to light any kit that you have under our brands or anyone else's brands for that matter.
Well, have you guys, are you, I don't know if you can answer this question, but are you considering doing a light kit for the refit in the 1/350th scale? Because right now there's a lot of aftermarket options,
Right.
and I'm looking into them. But it seems to me if it comes from the designers and the factory and the molds, the makers,
Right.
that would be, I think there's a market for that.
There definitely is. As you mentioned, a lot of aftermarketers have addressed that. It's a very complex ship to light compared to like the original series Enterprise, and so the fact that when we do a light kit, we want to make sure everything is plug and play, and you don't have to understand how to solder or figure out the math on electronics and that kind of thing. We try and make it as simple as possible to be as painless as possible for somebody who doesn't have that skill set. So when it comes to doing the refit, it's just another level of being complicated, and we'll take a look at it.
Okay, I absolutely love the details in the kit. It's a daunting kit. I've held off working on it because my finishing skills weren't. I would ruin it getting to that stage.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like getting over that fear.
Yeah.
And can I ask you another question? Can you address some modelers that are afraid of making a mistake or afraid of working on something like that and then just messing it up? What advice do you have?
This is advice for any field, any place where you want to improve your skill set. You just got to try it, and if you fail, you just wipe your knees off, get back up, and go at it again. That's all you can do. And to be honest, 90% of my career is doing that. It's knowing where I've made a mistake, go back and try and fix it, and then move on.
Right. Well, I really appreciate you meeting with us, and please come back to the show sometime. We'd love to have you back on and talk about maybe zone in on a very specific kit and go over a kit. I'd
Okay.
love that.
That might be fun.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
All right, so I am here with Bryant with Grex Airbrush.
Yes.
Bryant, thanks for sitting down with us for a few minutes.
Thank you.
Can we talk about Grex? What do you guys make?
Absolutely. So we make a full line of airbrush products. The great thing about our product line is we're very adaptable. For the individual that is working on a budget and may only be able to have one or two airbrushes, we can accommodate through adaptability everything from the low-end petite work to the broad strokes. So we make a more concise line of airbrushes versus our competition, where they tend to make lower, mid, and high-end airbrushes. We hit kind of middle of the road, but you can, again, do the very high-end quality work as well as like I say, the broad strokes, very simple techniques, but also to the advanced techniques.
So your line, you make everything from the compressor to needles to
That's correct.
adapters, everything.
That's correct. We're a U.S.-based company. Everything is our proprietary product. Now, when I say proprietary, we do have adaptability to our competition and common threads and things like that. So for the consumer that's maybe looking to upgrade from one airbrush manufacturer to another, we can easily accommodate in which you may have bottles and press fit caps and things like that that you can still utilize from the product you've already accrued or have in your arsenal, as I like to say. And still apply it to our product, which hopefully is a better quality product than whatever you may be using previously.
Right. So this is all industry standard compatibility, but you offer adaptability for your whole line.
Exactly. And
Play well with others.
absolutely. And there's certain aspects of adaptability that we provide that other manufacturers just can't at all. Like our fan cap system, for example, we're the only manufacturer that makes a 0.3 fan cap, which is wonderful for either priming, because we're all going to acrylics because of all the environmental aspects, and a lot of them do require a primer coat, which is that extra layer, so to speak. And if you're dealing with petite detail, this eliminates that risk of, or I shouldn't say eliminates, but reduces the chance of it oversaturating fine detail. But we also have larger fan caps as well for larger scale projects. Also for the individual that's looking to do an automotive grade finish, that fan cap works just like a real automotive spray gun, only micronized down for your scale model car.
Before moving up to airbrushes, I had no idea the capability, what you could do in finishing.
That's right.
A good airbrush and a good compressor makes all the difference in finishing a model.
It sure does, absolutely. And that you make a good point. Also, the compressor is also as important as, or air source, I should say, is just as important as the airbrush itself. They're low-end, small compressors that are poor quality that really don't hit the mark for what we are trying to achieve as scale modelers. You want a good, solid, consistent air source that's going to give you enough airflow to do whatever you need, whether it's the concise work or the broad strokes. And steady, smooth air is ultimately very critical.
Steady, smooth.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not an airbrush expert by any means, but a lot of times, a lot of people just kind of secondary think about the compressors, and that's a mistake. You can have a really nice airbrush and a crappy compressor, and they have a lot of problems.
And even with some of these small compressors that just thread right onto the base of the airbrush, there's no filter between the compressor and the airbrush. Like, we're pretty humid here today. You're sucking all that moisture right into your airbrush, and then it's going to have a compromising result when the paint hits the model.
Right.
So it's great to have something with a water separator. You may be in a climate like Florida where you need more separators in the airbrush line itself. Other places like Arizona, you don't have to worry so much about that. But at the same time, we get asked the question, well, how do you thin your paint? What's the A plus B equals success answer? And unfortunately, there is no exact number or percentages, because how the guy thins in Florida versus the artist in Arizona is two different worlds.
Day to day in Florida.
Exactly.
That's the one thing I noticed when I started airbrushing is that you really have to start test spraying before you start really applying.
The more you work with it, you become innate. You just sort of know what to do, and it just comes with time, a little bit of patience. The other thing also is it's great to educate. We're all about that. Not only my workshop at the IPMS Nationals, but we have online videos that are on our website as well as on YouTube and other social media outlets, in which we talk about the mundane stuff, how to clean the airbrush, how to take the airbrush apart and put it back together. These are critical things. We've had people send airbrushes back to us that are basically destroyed because they simply wouldn't watch a video or at least look at the instructions, and it's really unfortunate.
And couldn't remember how to put it back.
Or
bent the needle or something.
Did something that was catastrophic, which was really unfortunate because they didn't, at the very least, ask the question or give us a phone call saying, yeah, I'm having a problem, what do I do? Provide all that information. As I always say, the only dumb question is the one that's not asked. You should never be fearful of approaching somebody in the airbrush industry and asking them, how do you do this, or what do airbrushes do, or I'm trying to learn a technique or something. Ask. We're purveyors of information. If I don't have the answer, I'll find the guy that does. And we're in so many different markets. I have artists in a variety of different genres that I can get people in touch with that they'll be happy to share their information and their experience.
Well, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to sit down with us, and definitely would like to have you come back on the show again in the future and talk
Sure.
about some very specific product lines.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great.
All right, look who I found wandering around at Wonderfest 24. It's our friend Brandon with Squad.
Hey, buddy.
Brandon.
How are you?
Good. How's the show for you?
We had a lot of fun.
Now, how many times have you been here to Wonderfest?
My first time was 11 years ago.
Wow, and I'm guessing you're already set up for next year.
We are.
All right. So, Brandon, I got to say, it's so weird being here in person with you and not actually looking at a kit.
Yeah, well.
But it is what it is,
Yeah.
right?
It's always busy for me at these shows, which is a good thing.
Yes.
But doesn't leave much time to just hang out and catch up. So we'll
Right.
have to catch up sometime through the computer, I guess.
Yeah, well, I figured if you saw me running around the camera, I'd stop and say hi. You'd be mad.
Well,
so.
I'm glad you stopped.
So, all right. Well, listen, it was good seeing you.
Absolutely.
I'm glad the show went well, and we'll have you back on real quick because I'm itching for some more kits.
Yeah, we'll come up with something cool to talk about.
All right.
All right, see you
Travel
next time.
safe.
Yes, sir.
Stay tuned. I got more from Wonderfest.
Do you have a model build you're proud of? We'd like to feature it on our webcast. Just send us an email. Please include some images of the assembled kit in standard JPEG format. If your project is selected, we'll be in touch for more details. If your model is featured on the show, we'll send you some free swag. Now it's time for our viewer showcase, featuring an extended look at some of the fan-created models here at Wonderfest USA.